Senhoras e senhores, daremos início então à sessão plenária Inovação. Convidamos para compor a mesa o senhor secretário-geral da Terceira Conferência Nacional de Ciência e Tecnologia, Carlos Aragão, acompanhado do professor PhD Alan McDiarmid, Prêmio Nobel de Química. Com a palavra, o senhor secretário-geral Carlos Aragão.
Hello. Well, it's a great pleasure to welcome Professor Alan McDiarmid. He will be talking to us about innovation. Professor McDiarmid is a physicist and a chemist. No, I think originally he is a physicist who's been awarded the Nobel Prize in Chemistry. We're very delighted to have him here. And he will be talking to us about innovation. I have to give you an explanation. Dr. Eugenio Staub, who was supposed to be here, had to go abroad, so he could not come. But we are very delighted to have Professor Alan McDiarmid. This will give us a little more time to listen to him. Professor McDiarmid, please.
That's okay. You can hear. Well, firstly, thank you very much for your kind remarks. I do want to say what a very real pleasure and honor it is to have the opportunity of participating in this very important conference, very important not only for Brazil, but indeed for the whole world. Because, as we well know, Brazil has led and is the leader today in bioalcohol, biodiesel, and the world is rapidly learning from Brazil, and this source of new types of substitutes for petroleum greatly affects the whole world. So what Brazil does affects every country in the world. And as I will mention later this morning, one of the very real challenges for Brazil is to make sure that Brazil remains being the leader of the world in renewable fuels. I must firstly apologize that I need to speak in English. I was brought up and educated in New Zealand, and in New Zealand 60 or 70 years ago, I'm afraid our knowledge of Portuguese was very, very small, although our knowledge of Portuguese in New Zealand and throughout the world is now increasing, fortunately, rapidly, but not as rapidly as we would like. I would like to point out here that quite sure how to turn on the laser pointer. Oh. Obrigado. Right. Thank you. Obrigado. I would like to point out that I am very lucky to have many interactions throughout the world, and that here I seem to have lost oh yes, here we go. That in the United States, at the University of Pennsylvania and the University of Texas at Dallas, and in my home country, New Zealand, the MacDiarmid Institute in Wellington, New Zealand, and also, of course, here, that in China, in Changchun, at Jiling University, the largest university in China. And I'm very, very proud to be associated with the MacDiarmid Institute in Brava and St. Carlos, and also in India, and more recently in South Korea. So I feel I am very fortunate in having some background information and viewpoints from other parts of the world. And if I might have the next slide, please. Very important, I think, is that science is people. And I think we must keep reminding ourselves that the science and technology in a company or in a country can be no better than the people. Next slide. So as I like to point out here, that we have, even in small countries, which have very little natural mineral or energy, that we have very great levels of development. For example, in South Korea, Taiwan, Japan, they have the raw materials of air, water, sand for silicon chips and people. Now, every country in the world has these same four raw materials: air, water, sand, and people. Why is it then that some countries are very much more technologically developed than others? And obviously then it refers to people. So beautiful buildings and laboratories do not create new science and technology. People do. The quality of research comes from the people inside the buildings. One can have the most beautiful buildings, the most beautiful libraries, but if you do not have the right people to put inside these buildings, you have nothing. But here, I think in Brazil, we are very fortunate. We have the good buildings, the good laboratories, and the excellent people to put inside these buildings, both the scientists and the technologists and the administrative personnel in the government. I think very important to